Here we are, Ron. Another episode, Ron and Hope Unfiltered.
Testing.
Are you goofy?
Testing.
Testing. Y'all, we have power, number one. We are filming an episode.
If they're not in the southeastern, they don't know.
Because we have power. God is good. We have just come through the storm. Hurricane.
And we're beat.
Helene, whatever her name is.
Helene.
But she was vicious now. She was not kind. It's been rough.
Yep. My folk on the West Coast, they know earthquakes, but they don't know anything about hurricanes.
Nope.
Redemption San Jose. We're here filming from Redemption Greenville. And we're tired because we literally just came in from a Serve Our City event. We as a church, how many times a year do we do it, baby? Once?
At least once, sometimes twice.
Where we try to mobilize the entire, not just volunteer base, the entire congregation. 1,000, 1,200 people, if we can get that many involved, to go into one of the most, some of the more hurting areas of our community and refurbish it. We've rebuilt parks. We've done all kind of stuff like that. And
paint houses.
It's been amazing some of the things we've been able to accomplish. And what we do is we flood an area with 10,000 man hours in a day. Take it off the taxpayers' back, and sometimes we've walked in and revolutionized an whole area before we leave. And but this time, because of the hurricane, and if you weren't in the pathway of it, you can't really understand. I'm 56 years old, baby doll. I've lived in South Carolina, probably like you.
Our whole life.
With the exception of the 4 years I went to college, I've lived here my whole life. I've never seen this much damage. I've seen a lot of hurricanes, a lot of storms. I was in 2 hurricanes, not up here. I mean, I was on the coast when they happened. I've been in one tornado that came right over top of my house. I've never seen it like this. And this region, Asheville, North Carolina, from which we draw a lot of people, you can't even get there. You have to fly in from Greenville because the roads are washed out and floodings everywhere. So they're having to fly in supplies.
Like falling off the side of.
I think that might be in North Asheville, headed up toward Tennessee. But it's just mudslides and
flooding
and tremendous flooding. We went about 4 days without power, and I've never seen so many telephone poles snap like toothpicks with
and
power
just
lines.
Mangled.
Power lines laying
trees.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And so
everywhere.
Everybody's had damage. Houses, trees falling over houses, raining in their living room.
My brother had 2 massive trees just crush his house.
Yeah. And so if you've never been in that or you haven't been around it, and I know a lot of our audience and our congregation on the West Coast have never been around any. I've seen what they think is hard rain in California. I'm like, this ain't rain, this is mist. But you have the torrential rains here on the East Coast, and we just came through this one. And so we were supposed to this Saturday have a Serve Our City. And we were going to be helping out a Dream Center. Yeah. Here in the area, and we decided to turn it into food. We have people that cannot get a meal. They cannot get a hot meal.
Who have no water.
Yeah, it don't even have nothing to do with their economy.
Yeah.
They don't have access to power. They don't have access to food. The roads are impassable. And so we said, let's just take all this money, take all these resources.
No refrigerators.
Yeah, we partnered with Costco and Walmart, and we just literally went and purchased pallets of water, diapers, wipes, and
hamburgers, hot dogs.
Yeah, hamburgers,
buns.
hot dogs. And we just had assembly lines with our, volunteer base, and we are serving people. People in here crying. We went here praying with people. People in here lost everything. A guy just sitting in there right now, I said he was just told to get out because of the mold all over his house. He had water standing about 2 feet in his house, and he didn't have any renter's insurance. He's lost everything.
Oh, my goodness.
And so we got a lot of hurting people, and they're right on the other side of the door. We broke away for a minute to come to you. So this is the shirt and grease all over me from standing out there cooking.
I think you cooked 500 hamburgers today.
Me and Don and a couple other guys, we cooked 500 hamburgers and I think about 500 hot dogs. We got beef being smoked. We got chicken dinners being brought in tomorrow along with hamburgers and hot dogs. And we're just serving people and people coming in from all over.
And giving them a place that has air conditioning to sit.
To charge their phones, charge their computers. And some of them have just said it feels so good to sit in air conditioning. So we just took our church over, pulled all the tables and chairs out we can. Just saying we care.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to talk about a minute. This one may not last as long as some of them. But I told Hope, I said, let's just go right onto the podcast floor right out of this. Hope, this is how we started this church.
It is. I was talking to several of our staff people out there today, and they were like, this is the old days. This is how we started the church. We literally went into the neighborhood. I dressed up like a clown. We were in that little purple truck of yours.
I actually started out borrowing a truck.
Yes. And we would take a grill and put it in the back of the truck and go buy hot dogs and go into hurting neighborhoods.
Just feed people on the street.
10 of us. Yeah. That's all we had was 10. And we would cook. I would get out there in a clown outfit.
Baby, I remember a few times it was me and you.
To get children to come up and eat. And we would just tell them about Jesus and invite them to church. But we were in such hurting neighborhoods. They didn't have a way to get to church. I'd have to turn around and come back the next Sunday and pick them up.
We would take our beat-up cars, and our cars turned into church buses on Sunday morning. We had to bring them, then we had to take them home.
Nothing like it. Great memories.
You know, I wonder if today, they have a very sophisticated model of starting churches today. Number one, I don't know anybody that was starting a church when we were. It was going on 40 years ago. I know we don't seem that old.
That's a long time ago.
No, when we didn't take over an existing church in a denomination, but told everybody we wanted to start a church, they looked at us like we were aliens.
Yeah.
Like, start a church? Like, who does that? And when you remove yourself from a denomination and you do something independently, here's what a lot of people don't know. You also remove yourself from their support.
Right.
Now, we had some people that supported us, but the system, you remove yourself from the system. So not only, there wasn't no social media. Today, they're open in churches with 500 and 1,000 people the first day. And because you can geofence and you can get on there and you can create tremendous crowds before you even open up.
Well, there's great models
to social media.
That we didn't have.
I'm not knocking the models. I'm just saying that they didn't exist.
Yeah, we didn't have it.
The only people that were on TV were mega rich ministries. Because, we went on TV, 20 years later, and when I saw what the bills were, I'm like, blew my mind. I'm like, no wonder those guys spend half the show asking for money because what it takes to pay to be on there. Yeah. But the long and short of it is, I think for me, what I want to encourage people today, I'm not trying to tell people about our church's outreach on my podcast. What I'm trying to do is, when you put yourself in the pathway of human need, it keeps you grounded.
It does. And it also makes you realize you really don't have it as bad as you think you do.
Yeah. Your complaining tends to go out the door.
It's true.
I just got through with one woman. I just sat there as she wept and told me how she's lost 6 family members. And said she hadn't been back to church since we took over on the West Coast. She needed some food desperately here today. She came and got some for her family. Her sister died. She's now raising her kids. And she sat there and she said, you know what, I had so many losses. And she said, I felt like I lost my church. She said, and I questioned God and I lost my faith. She said, I hadn't been back. She started weeping. And I just grabbed her hand and sat down and I just started praying for her. She wept. And then the guy next to us, was told, get out of your house because of the mold. And his house is standing in several feet of water and he had no renter's insurance. So while you're sitting there trying to make a small dent by giving them a meal, there's some people in here, if God don't get involved, they're in bad shape.
Right.
And so I think what I want to say is it is easy. We were that church that the city called on.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that in a good way, in a righteous way. When there was crisis, when there was a need, when there's something happening in the world and they want to know, is this the end of times, is this the apocalypse? They want to come interview me. They want to come talk to our church. We were expected in this city to stand up
Right.
and do something if there's something wrong. And I think over time, when something gets real big, it has to create systems. There's no way around it.
You have to.
You have to. You have to create structure. And we're just being honest here. You may not feel this way. I'm speaking for me. And you can get to the day where you feel like you're no longer touching people, but you're running a machine.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you got HR. Now you got org charts. Now you got compliance issues.
Yep.
Now you got IRS compliance. Now you have full-blown accounting departments. Now you have a team of lawyers. Now you have risk management, offices. Now you have third-party contractors. I told people, I said, there were times where there were times where we had, power bill was $600,000 a year.
Right.
A power bill. $12 million payroll. And so you're sitting here and you build what you need to build to take care of and manage what, the people that you seek to serve, but it removes you from the people because the people touch the people and you run the machine.
Right. I think that's very dangerous.
I do too.
I think it's very dangerous.
And I think there is a movement. I've talked to some of the pastors.
Why you do what you do.
I've talked to some of the pastors that say, Ron, we're not going to do what you did. That's too much administration. That's too much work. That's too much. So we know that we got the Red Cross and we know that we got so-and-so. And what we do is we just
send money.
We send them money because they're already doing it. And I'm like, okay, that's a good business model. You want to streamline your administration. Mm-hmm. You're over here talking about the machine part. But when you never let your people touch the need.
Right.
What did Jesus do? He touched them.
Always.
He touched them.
He went always to the
them.
people in need.
And he touched physical need, and the physical need opened the door to the spiritual need.
Yep.
Jesus didn't walk up and say, I'm here to forgive you of your sins.
No.
He said, one time he said, so that you know I have the power to forgive sins, rise up and walk.
Yeah.
I'm going to heal your legs to prove to you I can forgive your sins.
Yeah.
Because forgiveness of sins was not a felt need. But 5,000 on the hillside hungry is a felt need. My legs won't work. That's a felt need.
Right.
My daughter's dying. My servant is sick.
Yeah.
Those are felt needs. So Jesus responded to felt needs, and it opened doorways to spiritual needs. I don't know if that still to this day is not the greatest model.
I think it's a great model.
For ministry.
Yeah. It worked for us for many, 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 many years.
God built the largest, it fell to second largest, but it was the largest ministry that this state had seen for years. And it wasn't because of, a great preacher. It wasn't because of a great leadership family. It was because we open pathways year round to reach in and touch people, and it changes you.
It does.
It changes you. I don't know, baby. It keeps you humble.
Yeah.
It keeps you grounded. It keeps your emotions fresh. I wept with her.
I did too.
She was standing there telling me about 6 family members in a little span of time. And then she said, and I felt like I lost my church. And I looked at her and I said, I'm sorry. I said, I apologize to you. I'm sorry. And I said, I just grabbed her hand. I said, I want to pray for you. And she said, I need it bad. And I went around the room. They were rolling in people crippled in wheelchairs and, people with special needs children, and they don't have no power.
Right.
They can't take a bath.
Right.
They can't.
Babies coming in. Mama's bringing babies who don't have any milk.
Yeah.
No formula.
People can't find formula. They hadn't had diapers.
Yep.
And here again, it's not, just a ministry to the poverty stricken. It's not that. It's people are in a situation. It don't matter if you're a billionaire. If you don't have power, you don't have power.
Right.
And we talked to some people last night that were very well-to-do people. They couldn't back their cars out of their garage.
Right.
because trees had fallen all in their house and all over their garage. They couldn't even get their cars out.
Well, the Bible says, him who knows to do right
and doeth it not,
and doesn't do it,
it's sin.
It's sin.
Yep.
So for us to know that there are hurting people and us not do anything, we're in sin. So I just am so grateful
some
for
people say,
a church that has a heart.
Redemption, y'all have the resources.
This cost a lot of money.
Yes. If people knew what we do to make things happen, they don't know. They have a vision of y'all are taken care of, so you need to go out and feed people. To him whom much is given, much is required, and when you have a lot, there's a big pull.
It is.
And
I get people even on my social media, Ron, on Facebook or Instagram, and every single day, at least 10, 12 every single day asking me to help them pay a bill. I have no food. I'm hungry. I don't mean people in Africa and in India. I mean local people. Pastor, can you please help me? I'm out of a job. Pastor, I've got a job coming, but I don't have the down payment for my
don't have deposit.
Yeah, deposit or what? Just asking me, and it's just so
and we
troubling.
Do what we can. We do what we can.
Do what we can, but
we do what we can.
It's just overwhelming.
But you say, what are you trying to do on your podcast today? What I'm trying to do is, let me back up. We live in a nice place. Through the years, we've tried to be faithful, and we've done real estate. We've done stuff on the side. It ain't just a church paycheck by far. And we live in a nice place, and we live around people who have not experienced a lot. They come up well, and they've continued to do well. So they were raised well, and now they do well. And you invited some of them to come here and serve today.
Yep. And they came.
What happened?
They loved it. 3 of my friends in our neighborhood who, I don't think they are, have a church home, but they're great people and they're great hearted. And
they're not scared of us, even though we're pastors.
No, they love us. And they came today and they just were like, thank you so much for inviting us to come help serve this city.
Well, they're passing out food in the food line.
So
I'm watching them.
Yes, and they're just loving on people and serving people. And I was just so proud. Number one, proud of our church for having something that we could invite people to come be a part of to help.
And we've been here for 10 weeks.
Right. But just so proud also of, the godly, wonderful people in this community who band together to help people in need, who doesn't know these people. They don't know these people, but they came and gave their time and gave resources and served. Some of them in our subdivision said, I can't come, but they wrote checks. Here's some money. Yep. They wrote checks and said, use this toward it. And I think for me, I run a big machine. It's not as big as some, but it's a lot. It's a global ministry. And I spend my days in offices. And there is a danger there that while you're moving from meeting to meeting and planning meeting to planning meeting and business meeting and financial meeting and marketing meeting and then you go in to meet, this is our media day, and we shoot TV and we do podcasts, and we shoot glues and social media. You're making me tired. Yeah. Well, that's our life. And there is some times where you have to be careful that the most basic people, very close to you, life has not been good to them. And that you don't feel it anymore, not because you're a cold-hearted Christian, but because you're not around humanity. You're around a machine. And you get removed from what the real needs of the people are. Right. And so when you get in a pulpit, your words fall to the ground. You can't connect. Because they say, he don't relate to me. Yeah. So I think it is just so healthy, and I'm so grateful that God has given us the wits. I just really believe it's the Holy Spirit who leads, guides, directs. I'm so thankful that we have been able to balance all of this. And I think we've done a pretty good job balancing.
I don't want to lose that.
Yes. I love those people. Those people who came in today hungry, hurting, stinky, hadn't had a bath. I love those people. And I am so honored to get to serve the kingdom like this.
So I would say to you guys, you know, you're getting us fresh off that. I mean, we walked out of the sweat and came and sat down in here. We're talking about we need to go take a bath right quick. And I said, nope. I said, let's go in there just like this, raw from the emotion of it, of seeing so many people displaced and so many people in just a mess. And some of them don't know how they're going. Some of them, this storm, some of them are going to have to rebuild their life.
Yeah.
Some of them, that one guy, the guy that walked in that had to get out, he said, I've lost everything.
Yeah.
His car was standing in water up to the windshield. Well, that car ain't ever going to run again.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how he got here to get the meal for his family. I think somebody brought him. And his clothes, he said, I got the clothes I got on. And so we put him over and had him talk to some people we think can help him. I know FEMA, has declared some of the counties here natural disaster area, and they're around. So we think we've got him some help. But I would just exhort people, when God elevates you and God blesses you, don't walk in the blessing to a place that you forget what it was like.
Yeah. Or how the old schoolers
to be
would
one
say,
of the people,
where you came from.
Yeah, don't forget where you came from, or get above your raising.
Yeah.
Don't get above your raising. Don't ever walk in blessing to the point where you separate yourself from the hurts of your community. Don't let the sound of your church ring hollow in that city because you don't connect with what's really going on there.
Yeah. And listen too, I think it's so important. Sometimes we can get so wrapped up in ourselves and so closed-minded. I was so proud of our neighborhood, our community, when the power went out. And some of the people in the neighborhood had generators, some did not. So some were totally without power. But they opened their homes, and we cooked breakfast for 2 families 2 days in a row because I had gas stove. And just welcomed their babies in and gave them milk, and my refrigerator was working. We didn't have any AC, but, some things worked, some didn't. But other homes would open their homes. We were sharing milk. We were sharing, you got any extra toilet paper? I can't find this at the grocery store,
Crisis can create so many wonderful things.
It does.
Crisis can create friendships, create bonds, and many times crisis can bring the very best out of people.
It does.
And so, I don't know, you're catching us out of the situation. Much of our staff, I don't know about much, a significant portion of our staff still don't even have power and stuff, and they're here working.
Yep. They came to work because they like the air conditioning.
There's this water running in the sink, and they got air conditioning.
And they got to wipe off in the sinks in the bathroom, right?
But anyway, Jesus looked upon the multitude, and he had compassion upon them. And then he said many times, what would you have me to do for you? And I ask that 1,000 times a day, what can I do for you? I can't fix your world. I can't get the water out of your house. I can't rebuild your electrical lines. But I know how to grab your hand and touch God and ask for the comfort, the peace, and the confidence of the Holy Spirit that God is the rebuilder of lives and dreams. And when you go down to the potter's wheel, and there was a clay marred in the hands of the potter, but he threw it up there again and made it a new vessel. So don't matter how much life gets marred and messed up, God just takes it, puts it back on the wheel, and makes it something else. And so I want to encourage anybody in the pathway of the storm. I just want to encourage you to keep your head up. There aren't many people that can come in and fix your world, but there are people that really do care. And sometimes that just makes a difference, knowing somebody else out there cares about your situation. And number two, if you have a chance with GoFundMe's, if you have a chance with the last disaster relief funds, some nonprofits that are helping out, I know through Georgia, I know parts of Florida, and I know the Carolinas, there are some places that are straight up devastated.
And if you follow this ministry and you don't live on the East Coast, you're on the Midwest, you are on the West Coast, and you'd like to help what we're doing, just go to hopecarpenter.com/give, and you can give online. There is a local outreach tab, and all of your giving is tax deductible. Hope Carpenter Ministries, instead of redemption, is the arm of all of our missions and outreach. So hopecarpenter.com/give, and we really would appreciate it.
Okay. And guys, until next time, don't ever quit touching the needs, because when you touch the needs, it'll touch you. Don't ever forget that. And until next time, this is Ron and Hope, Unfiltered, real raw testing. Real raw relevant.
We love you guys.
And with our tired, greasy self, we'll see you soon.